Abraham, my life is wonderful. I have many children. I have a wife. I have all the stuff I want. I have the opportunity to have made a great deal of difference in the world. And I love it. But I don't live in a vacuum. I have parents, I have a family, I have a state, I have a country, and I have God. And my bottom line question comes out of the phrase, to whom much is given, from whom much is expected. And it tends to run me. So my question is, what do I owe?
Alignment to your own desire. So go back to the phrase.
Yes.
To whom much is given.
Yes.
What's the rest of it?
From whom much is expected. Seems like there has to be a balance. It can't all be taken. I know the joy is in the giving, but sometimes I feel that I must give back to kind of balance the scale.
Well, when you realize that there's not a finite stash of goodies
Yes.
that you're sharing with others, and you realize that, in fact, your asking is your giving. This is an interesting way of looking at this, and stay with us. We think you're really going to like it. As you sift through contrast, it is through the honing of that contrast that desire is born within you.
Through the honing of that contrast?
Through the evaluating, through the deciphering, through the exposure to contrast.
Yes.
Your personal preferences are born.
Yes.
And when that preference is born within you, it radiates out vibrationally as an asking. And when you ask, it is always given. So that's really a non-issue. You can't help but experience contrast, so you can't help but ask. And since you can't help but ask, and anything that you ask for is given, then there is no real earning going on. There's just exposure to contrast, which causes you to ask, and worthiness that was already in place that is being answered. But if there is any price to pay, or if there is any giving back something,
yes,
it must be in this category of finally bringing yourself into vibrational alignment with what you're asking for. And we think it is that necessary function that has been coined into a lot of phrases. In other words, you've got to be a vibrational match to what you're asking for.
So there's no earning, and there's no need to justify what
Not only not a need, it's not even possible. Our friend earlier talked about all of the things that are free. How could you ever repay whoever for this planet that spins in its orbit?
Yeah,
how much would you pay, and who would you pay for the eternal moving forward of food and the water continually finding its balance? In other words, you were born into this worthy receiving of all of this goodness, you see.
Yes, and thank God for this particular incarnation. Thank God.
Now let's talk about something like tithing just for a moment, and let's try to apply it to the idea that I've received so much and now I must give back.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, what makes tithing effective? In other words, what makes people say, since I began tithing, I'm so blessed? What makes that happen is that in their attitude of abundance, I am so blessed and I have everything that I need. In fact, I have even more than I need. And so I'm taking some of this excess that is more than I need and I'm applying it over here. So it's an attitude of abundance that perpetuates more abundance.
Which is totally different from the attitude of owing.
There are people who tithe from a feeling of responsibility who are not all that blessed. In fact, you'll hear them complaining. I've tithed and tithed and tithed, and look what they're doing with my money. They're building contraptions and monuments that are of no value to anybody. And some will say, in my abundance, I have gladly tithed, and it has come back to me tenfold. And we say, well, whatever you're feeling always comes back to you again and again and again and again and again. So if there is anything within what you're offering that we can find some vibrational alignment with, it is that any earning that you do by moving up the emotional scale. In other words, it's coming into alignment, but we don't call that earning. In other words, and this may be the problem that people have with the idea of releasing resistance. When you release resistance, you have immediate reward of feeling better. And every time you release resistance, you have immediate reward of feeling better. And the more you release resistance, the more you are rewarded. And then you say, bless your heart, but who do I pay for all of my rewards? And we say, oh, it's where we began here today. You are the leading edge of source energy. Do you know how source energy revels in moving into your leading edge place that you've carved out? In other words, there could not be more that you could give to all that is or to source than exposure to experience that takes thought into a place and creation into a place that it has not been before. So source benefits before you do. You carve it out and source goes there. And it is good. And we are glad. And this seminar is about you getting up to speed with where you have allowed all of us to go.
So in a sense, you could say that everything that I've been given is also my offering.
Because when you ask for you ask for all of us.
Yes.
That is so big.
Thank you very much. That's really lovely. Thanks.
Hello. About 3 years ago, a very special little cat came into my life, and it's been an incredible experience. And I feel almost like he's a physical extension of my inner being, because if I'm negative, Aaron, in a moment, and he'll come running in and lay down and be like, play with me, focus on me, and it's so easy to get into, positive feeling with him. And I was wondering, what is the nature of our relationships with very special connections with animals?
Well, it's a very common thing, and this is unsettling to many humans who are working on climbing the karmic wheel. But we want you to understand that you are all extensions, whether you are human or feline, you are extensions of source energy. And you come forth with different intentions, of course, but you are extensions of source energy. And very often, a very dear friend, even a pet friend or an animal friend, is sort of a chip off your same block. In other words, the beasts are teachers to the very core of their being. They are pure positive energy. They offer less resistance than humans do. And so when you meet someone, whether it is another human friend or whether it is a beast who feels particularly significant to you, it is almost always that you have been old friends. In other words, that is a very common thing. And it's not unusual for you to have a beast, and then because the beasts have very short lifespans in comparison with yours, it's not uncommon for the next beast to have the same stream of consciousness. In other words, even beasts that don't look alike can have same energy moving through them, you see. We like what you've projected about you can be out of alignment a little bit, and the beast will knock itself out, so to speak, to cajole you back into alignment. That is the mark of the best kind of teaching. The beast understands that nothing is more important to you than your alignment, and only takes into consideration your alignment, and never does anything that would cause you to jeopardize your alignment. Oh, what a friend that is. Imagine hanging around with someone who cares so much about your connection with Source that their every action is towards soothing your connection with Source. We think it's nice when you meet up with them. We don't want you to be dependent on them.
Right. Can I do any intending for them, like in terms of like perfect health, or is that their business?
That's their business, and you'll usually mess it up.
Right.
Because you'll usually approach it from a worrisome standpoint, and then they will usually say, if it's all the same to you, I'd just as soon you didn't think about me. Unless you can think about me only in the place of pure positive energy, just don't think about me. One day, Jerry and Esther were having a seminar at home, and there were several people in the living room, and we were talking about not needing to justify your existence, that your existence is justification enough. And the windows were open, and at that moment, Party Cat leaped through the window into the house. Now, Party Cat was never in the house. Party Cat had not before been in the house. It's a neighbor's cat, and he only came to Jerry and Esther's house for parties, and that's why they named him Party Cat. So he comes for the energy, comes for the good feeling, you see. And so right in the middle of this seminar, Party Cat leaps in and laid on the floor right at our feet. And we said to Party Cat, and how do you justify your existence? And Party Cat rolled over on his back and put all 4 of his legs out and just laid there and said to everyone, this is how I do it. This is as hard as I work for my well-being.
Right.
For I understand that my well-being is a given, and I just look for opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to let it in. And that's what your little beast is showing to you. In other words, this is how it's done. You're fussing and fretting about something, and your cat just says, no, this is how it's done. This is how it's done. You just relax and let it in. You don't fret it in. You don't work it in. You don't justify it in. You don't struggle it in. You just let it in. Yes.
Thank you.
So are you getting this? Do you understand that you are the creator of your own experience? Yes. Do you understand that the world is not broken, just varied? Do you understand that it's a well-stocked kitchen with every ingredient imaginable? And you can pluck from the shelves and make a pie that pleases you? And if you don't want Tabasco sauce in your pie, just don't put it in your pie. But don't try to get it thrown out of the kitchen. Because when you try to get it thrown out of the kitchen, it ends up in your pie. And then you say, if it wasn't in the kitchen, it wouldn't have gotten in my pie. And we say, if you weren't worried about it being in the kitchen, it wouldn't be in your pie either. If you weren't pushing against this unwanted thing, it wouldn't be in your vibrational mix. And you say, but it is in my vibrational mix. How do I get it out? And we say, by looking at something that pleases you. But how do I get out what I don't want in? By looking at something that you do want in? No, Abraham, you're not hearing me. I've got this stuff I don't want. How do I get it out? By deactivating it. Oh, well, how do I deactivate it? By looking at something else. But I want to look at this thing that I want to get rid of. I want to wrestle it to the ground and kill it. I want to deactivate it by trampling it, by bombing it, by voting against it, by joining groups against it. And we say, you're putting more of it in your pie. But how do I get it out of my pie? By looking at something else. But how do I get it out of my pie? By looking at something else. Abraham, I don't think you're hearing me. Let me explain it to you one more time. I've got this stuff that I don't want. How do I get rid of it? By looking at something else. You mean just taking my attention from it, it will go away? Not immediately, but eventually. Because you cannot take your attention away from something today that you've been practicing for a while. But you can change the way you look at it. You can soften it a little bit. You can change your attachment to it by making peace with it where it is. So if you make peace with the things you do not want by saying, no big deal, they're temporary. As you make peace with the things you do not want by saying, no big deal, they'll go away. They weren't always here. They got in. They'll go out the same door they came in. And you turn your attention more and more to things that feel better as you give your attention to them. Before you know it, those things that were once really plaguing you will be distant memories that are rarely activated. And in time, they will be activated not at all. You are powerful creators. You are source in physical bodies. You're supposed to feel good, and life is supposed to be good for you. And everything that you want has been prearranged for you. Source has ridden the rocket of your desire, and there are things amassing in your vibrational future that are thrilling to us even to speculate about. As you relax more and make more fun of every day, and make lists of things that you already feel good about, and make better feeling lists about the things that you don't feel so good about, and you stop beating up on yourself for the things that you don't feel good about, but instead respect yourself and allow yourself and trust yourself and work to feel just a little better and a little better and a little better and a little better. You're going to clean up your vibration, and within 30 days you will be vibrating on a platform that is so different from today that the things that you've been asking for will begin avalanching in. And people who are watching you will say, whoa, what did you do? And you'll say, I jumped through the window and I laid on my back and I put all 4 feet in the air and I stopped justifying my existence. I said, here I am, worthy me. let it in. There is great love here for you. We are complete.